So when I was studying and training to be a band director, nobody told me that so much of my job was going to be just working with spreadsheets. What I found over the years is that spreadsheets not only have the ability to reduce the amount of time we have to spend with the non-musical part of our job, but it can also create a better student experience by keeping better track of our students and their information. So in this video, I want to talk about some of my best spreadsheet tips and help you unlock the power of spreadsheets in your band teaching. Now, why spreadsheets? I think the biggest advantages of spreadsheets over just a normal list is not only their ability to contain a large amount of information, but to be able to sort it in any way you want. So I think one of the biggest things about learning to use spreadsheets well is learning to put information in them that is sortable. So for example, look at this one. I've got it color-coded. Let's say that these highlighted rows are students that I need to follow up with for some reason. Now, it's great that my eye is drawn to it, but I can't sort by this information, and so it makes it more difficult to work with. So what would be better is to have a column of information that's just going to be for that singular purpose. So I'm going to click on this column and then insert a new column, and this will just be my follow-up column. So I'll just go through, and it doesn't have to be anything particular. I'll just put an X in these students. And now what I can do is sort, and now I have all the students that I need to follow up with right there. I can grab all of their email addresses. I can see it quickly. Now, if I want to keep it color-coded, great, but I don't want to rely on color-coding because I can't sort that. So just get all the information in a column so you can sort it. And the other thing is we want to have just one data point per column. So for example, looking at this sample spreadsheet, this column has lesson groups, so it has a day and an instrument. The problem is I can't sort by instrument because it's only going to sort by the first thing in the column, which is the day of the week. So ideally, we would have each of these things in their own column. So what I'm going to do here to make it easy is I'm just going to highlight this column, go up here to data, and split text to column. When I click that, it's going to ask me down here, how do you want to split it? Well, there's a space between the words that I want to split, so I'm just going to select space, and now it creates a new column with the instrument. So I'm going to rename this instrument, and this more accurately is lesson day. So now I can sort according to instrument, I can sort according to lesson day of the week, and it's just a lot easier to work with. Don't worry about having a lot of columns in your spreadsheet. You can always move them around. For example, if I don't want the lesson day to be toward the left and something that I see all the time, I can just grab it, drag it over to the right so it's out of the way, or I can highlight and hide some of these columns as well. I like to do two-finger click on my trackpad, and I'm just going to come down here and click hide, and now they're out of the way. So you could also delete it, but with this way, that data is still available. I just click on this little triangle, and then it's back where I can see it. Now, the main advantage of spreadsheets is being able to sort. So let's talk about how we do this. Everything that I'm doing in this video is through Google Sheets, and is a little bit different sorting method for this than, say, if you're working with Excel. In this one, you kind of want to think in reverse order. So let's say I want to primarily sort by lesson day, and that's the main way I want them grouped, and then within that, I also want them to be grouped by instrument. What I actually need to do is start with the secondary one first, and sort that way, and then come back so that the last thing I sort is the most important thing. That's one way to sort. The other way to do it is to sort by range. And so what I'm going to do is select, let's say this, and then I'm going to two-finger click, and then way down at the bottom, view more cell actions. I'm going to select sort range. And then I can go through in a more kind of intuitive, if I want the most important thing to be lesson day, I'll do column C, and then next I'll do column D. And then now they are sorted in the same way. Now the problem is, and if you notice this, now I selected only these first 5 columns, and I didn't select this information over here. So now this information doesn't match the same people. So the thing you have to watch out for, I'm going to do undo. You have to, if you're going to sort by range, you need to get all of the information for that row, and then you can go through the process to sort range. So that keeps all the information in line. One thing that helps over time is to keep your data in your spreadsheets looking clean. And there are a couple ways we can do that. One is if I look at this sample spreadsheet and say I'm looking at the phone number column, it looks like I have a phone number for every student, but that's not the case. If I click on here on this cell and I go up to the formula bar, you can see that it's empty. And the reason it looks full is because this cell is spilling over, it's overflowing into the next cell. So what I want to do is manage my text wrapping settings, and there are 2 ways that I can do that. I can select this column, and I'm going to come up here to my wrapping, and I could select for it to wrap. That is, it's going to return the text and create a new line, and as many lines as it needs to fit that text in this cell. The problem is it really spaces out the rows, and so these are now 3 rows deep, while all the information is just 1 row. And for me, this is not easy to look at, and so I don't want to do that way. And so what I'm going to do instead is select the clip option. That way it's going to stop the text when it gets to the new cell instead of letting it overflow to the next one. Now I can clearly see the phone numbers that I need to obtain and fill in there. Another thing to keep in mind with sorting is that a lot of columns will sort alphabetically, but that's not logically the way you want to see the information. For example, day of the week, lesson day. If I sort by lesson day, the first day of the week alphabetically is Friday, but that's the last day of our teaching week. So what I'll normally do in this situation is I'll put a number in front of the word. So Friday is like the 5th day of our teaching week, so I'm going to put 5 Friday, and I'll copy that down. I'll do 1 Monday, and then copy that down. Now, one thing to keep in mind with spreadsheets and computers in general is don't allow yourself to do anything too repetitive, because the computer and the spreadsheets probably got a way to do that for you. One way is if you're on a cell, you can hover over that lower right hand corner, and you see how my cursor turns to an X or a plus sign. I can click and drag that down, and it's going to fill in these cells according to what it thinks I want. So we're going to see what happens here. So it kept it as Monday, but the problem is it took the number and then gradually increased the numbers as we went down. So the way to avoid doing that is I'm going to create 2 cells, copy and paste, that say 1 Monday, and then it will just maintain that same format going down. And I'll finish putting in the rest of these. Okay, so now each of the days of the week has a number in front of it that should be the number that sorts. So now when I sort by this column, now we see Monday followed by Tuesday and so on. Another way that this is not going to sort the way you want it, or at least the way I want it, is if I sort instrument by alphabetically. I don't really want my bassoon and then clarinet and then euphonium. That order doesn't make sense to me. I want it in score order. And so what I almost always do is I create a column for score order, and I have this kind of system in my head where I give different instruments a number. I would start with flute being 1, oboe for some reason is being 1.1, and then bassoon is 1.2, clarinet is 2, saxophone is 3, trumpet is 4, and we can go on from there. But as I sort now, you can see how it's flute, then oboe, bassoon, clarinet. Much more logical to my brain as a band director, and they're now in score order. So I always keep a column for score order in my spreadsheets. And that's going to lead into the final thing that I want to show you, which is very specific to putting your concert program together. Let's say we want to put this list of names in alphabetical order by instrument into our concert program. So the steps for that are this. First of all, I'm going to sort alphabetically by last name. Then I'm going to sort by score order. So now we have the flutes in score order, or in alphabetical order by last name, but we also want first name and last name together. So I'm going to create a new column that's going to join first and last name. To do that, we're going to type a formula. I'm going to start my formula with the equal sign, and then I'm going to start to type the word concatenate. That's a fun word to say. Concat, we actually want concatenate. So that's going to finish the word and add a parenthesis. So now I want to set the formula to be the first name, and then the next thing we want is a space. So I'm going to add a comma, and then I want that space in quotation marks. So I'm going to do quote, space, quote, followed by another comma. Finish that with the last name, and then I'm going to close the formula by pressing the parenthesis sign, and then click return. And when I do that, not only do we see Emma Johnson as we want it formatted, it also fills in the rest of the names for us. And so a lot of work has just been cut down by knowing that simple step. So now I can take this list, copy, go over to the program that I've set up here, paste, match style, and it's automatically what we want there. And so then I can format it in the program, but that saves so much time to be able to put it in the right order. And yeah, spreadsheets are a really great tool for so many different things. I use spreadsheets for keeping track of my rosters, keeping track of assessments, grading, my own to-do list, which I have another video and I can send you my to-do list, items to fix in the band music, keeping track of our band library, our finances in our band account, keeping track of lesson assignments, keeping track of our instrument inventory. There's so many things that spreadsheets can do. And like I said, it can cut down the amount of time that we have to spend on the non-musical parts and just really help to create a better student experience because we're taking good care of our students by keeping track of their information. So I hope this video was helpful. If you have any questions, let me know. Thanks a lot for joining me, and we'll see you soon.